Hey guys, this is Galactic Marine 501 slash jexamwolfexia, and today I'm going to be reviewing the the Infinite Justice. Now, I have to say this guy is my favorite lead, he really is sort of a half lead. He's the main support character, I guess would be the best way to title it. But here he is without any of his weapons, which he is a lot. There's a lot of this pink color, and that does say so, that does add to the speculation about Atherin's character. Why he first of all he divorced Lacus. He cut off the engagement. They were not married yet, but whatever. Then he rejects Mir outright. He rejects Kigali. He doesn't notice Lunamaria's feelings for him, or he doesn't acknowledge them. He then goes on to think of Mayrin as just friends. People have been making gay jokes out the wazoo about Atherin, and his pink Gundam doesn't help. Whatever. But anyway. Okay. He did seem to genuinely love Lacus and Gundam Seed, though, so I'm going to use that to shoot holes in the gay argument. Whatever. I honestly don't care at this point. Because Atherin still is awesome, even if he is gay. Why would that make somebody any less awesome? I don't know. Okay, so anyway, if you have the Infinite Justice, I mean, this, not very good. I guess you could compare that to the Strike, not just the Strike. Then you can attach the Hang Glider, which actually, funnily enough, has a few modes. I'm gonna show you the modes that are separate from the Gundam itself first. You fold this nose cone down, there, and then this is the weapon that he detaches and flies off and bombs, and goes into the core of the Requiem and cuts it up, and also he detaches this and it flies through the Minerva's engines. Actually, this is the mode it was in when it flew through the Minerva's engines, but whatever. And this has a weaponized mode, and you can attach the beam sabers. They remind me of either the Sword Impulse, or the, I guess you could say the Sword Strike. I don't have the Sword Strike. I don't think they made a high-grade Sword Strike. The Destiny's beam was a lot better than these are. These are like the Sword Impulse, where they don't fit perfectly. So they warp out a little bit. I could just trim them down, I think. What doesn't fit perfectly? I could probably trim them down. But, yeah. I found that after a little finagling, you can get them in there perfectly. Like if you get it in just right, it'll fit flush against the wing. But you gotta finagle it in there. There's a sweet spot. There is. Like, there's a certain way you can do it where it's perfect, but it likes to not be perfect a lot. So don't waste your time. Just try to get him into a good pose, warped. Another thing, you can have him put his hands above his head as if he's yelling yippee, and then grab onto the this thing. There are two handles that flip down from the thing, so he can use it as a hang glider. which he never does, thankfully, in the show, because the thing docks to his back. Why would he use it as a hang glider? I guess so he can kick things, but other than that, it seems kind of useless. Plus, the upside-down arms look ridiculous because of the shoulder armor. Next, he can apparently ride it as a surfboard. Which, again, it docks to your back, dude. But in that way, I guess he could, like, jump and do all kinds of stuff, avoid shots by, like, say somebody shot a missile at him. I don't know, it reminds me of some skateboarding trick. Now, on this thing, you get this piece, which if you notice the bottom has that little slide. You could take a standard Gundam base that you get in a lot of kits and slide it into the back one or the front one, but the back one works better because it's more centered. And then plug this into there. Then end up with a display base for just this. Actually, the way I almost displayed the guy was, actually this is how I'm going to display him, with fighting the Destiny with this little adapter that comes with, I think, I'm going to say the Destiny, because I don't think he has this dark gray. Yeah, it's the Destiny. Then again, no. No, even his hands are light, so yeah, it's the Destiny. But he also has, so the way I was going to do it was have him up here with like this, the beam sword or something, then have this thing like down here charging off into the distance. Maybe have the Akatsuki next to him, so it could be like the final scene where they're destroying the Requiem. Or I wish they made a Minerva in this scale, but that would be freaking huge. Or at least like a Minerva in 1/400th, so I could still have the thing there. I think they do, actually. They have an SD Minerva, I know. Yet no Archangel, weirdly enough. Oddly enough, I guess, would be better. But yeah. Now he does come with a plug for the polycap for the aerial display base, which does seem out of place because the underside of the crotch is mostly gray, then you just have this pink plug over it. I have to say I've never been a huge fan of that, because, I mean, what kind of pose do you have to have it in for somebody to see that anyway? I mean, I guess if you did have it in, like, some kung fu kick, that would be good, but I don't think... It doesn't have the skirt articulation for that. Now, moving on, because this guy has a ton of weapons. He has the pretty plain... It's plain, but you could paint it up and make it look nice. I mean, there is a paint app for this. Hang on, I want to see if... I'm going to check MAH. No, I'm not going to check MAHQ, I guess. Yeah, basically, I'm going to say that what was I doing? Sorry. I'm going to say that I don't know what I was talking about at all, so I'm just going to shut up now. But anyway, it can dock to his back as it this thing can dock to his back as it should, and he can have a much better parasail than before. And actually his head, I find, you can get it out pretty far so that you can have him like doing a bird dive or whatever. But this guy does have a flight form in which you need to either turn his head off to the side, like so. Yeah, they tell you to take the head off, but I find that if you turn it off to the side ever so slightly, you can just barely get it in. Once you get it that far, just turn it off just a little bit more, and then you can pull that cannon down. And it saves the polycap the stress of popping it on and off like they suggest. Now, the good thing about this pose is that you can have it supported by the base, and it is a little tall for him, so you can have him I often, if I support it by the base, I will have his feet back like this so I can strategically plant one against the base so it doesn't like end up drooping, because if you look, if you don't have that extra thing, the cannons will pop off and end up right there. So yeah, that doesn't work out very well. But anyway, I turn the head to the side again to fold it back. I like it on his back so I can have the wings. I like it on his back with the wings down like this. But I'm actually going to pop that off. I'll re-armor him all up at the end, because this is the big accessory. Actually, I'm going to leave this on and show this separately, and show the shield separately, because it does do so much and it's hard to get parts on and off with it attached to him. Here's the shield. Possibly my favorite Gundam shield ever. I don't know. I haven't seen every episode of Gundam ever, so I can't make that call yet. Sorry. What was falling asleep? So, yeah, he does have a beam shield. It's about 3 times larger than Strike's beam shield. Strike Freedom, not Strike. If I refer to the Strike, I am almost undoubtedly referring to the Strike Freedom. Let's just go with that. The only issue is, I don't remember why they had this, but they had a piece of plastic in the center of this beam shield. And if you don't... Here, I actually need my sprue cutter. Can't get that thing to sandwich without it. Where are you, sprue cutter? I've actually been building a few model kits in the past few days. I know what you guys probably think, that there's like this huge mess next to my bed. There is. Yeah. I'm not going to deny it. There's quite a mess next to my bed, but that's because like today I've been sick for the past few days. Actually, I haven't been able to leave my bed. I left to go to church, but ended up leaving church early because of, yeah, I'll bet you can guess if I have a cold and had to leave church early. I'll bet you can guess. Yeah, I was vomiting. Whatever. Sorry if that was too much information, but... So I did what I normally do when I'm sick, which is work on models. And, I mean, now the gap is slightly too big in one little area, so that's not terrific, that's not ideal, but... I mean, hey, whatever. I mean, there's a tiny little tab that's too thick now. That's too thin, but I had to cut that out so I could cut it a little better. But anyway, so yeah, here's what you end up doing. You have to cut a tab and then just sort of put it back with your nail. Then this thing will sandwich onto there nicely, and then you can attach this T-shaped this cap to it. And oh, that's nice. That, I mean, I've never gotten this in here perfectly until now, but anyway, you just have a beam shield that covers up the whole physical shield and then some. I think Atherin uses this to defend something. Not sure what he was defending at that point. He's defended so many different things. But this shield is not just a shield. If you can see, there's a hole there. That's not his rifle, no. It's not his good rifle. It's actually a beam sword. I like to call it a beam buster sword because it is so long. But anyway, you can attach this to the bottom of the arm, like so. And I like to have it with the sword in, but you can turn his head. And actually, you can put both on at the same time. I'll just demo that. It's kind of ridiculous when you do, and you actually have to move the shoulder. The shield is so big, you have to move the shoulder armor to get it on. Okay. That is ridiculous. But anyway, there. You can